Do me for hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
All right, welcome to Hold This Cell with your host, Lonnie Cappel. What's going on, bro?
What up, bro? Man, ready for this episode, man. Excited football started today. Ready to get into it, bro. What's up with you? What's going on?
I'm good, man. It's been a good day. It's been a long time since I've been able to sit and watch sports all day, from basketball to football and baseball. I say a long time. I wonder if this is historic. Like I don't know if there's been a time, at least in my lifetime. I mean, of course, I don't know when I was a kid, but when you had competitive football, basketball, and baseball all at the same time, because we had our seasons, right? So
Right.
normally when football start, of course, basketball is not going at all. You have baseball going, but then when basketball gets started, you have your preseason. But when basketball really get going, the baseball season's over with because the World Series, is over. And then when basketball is like in a full, swing, playoffs and all that, you got baseball that started, but football's not going. So this is I feel like this is a historic time because we got all three major sports like full fledged. So I was able to like follow some baseball today. I was able to catch the playoff game. I was able to follow all the football. It's overall a good day, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this show because we got a lot to delve into.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
but before we get there, like, man, how you doing, man? How's life? What's going on with you? Anything special?
Nothing special. I mean, we finally got utilities and electricity back on. I'll be a lot happier when I get my cable back on tomorrow. But other than that, I mean, I was still able to watch my football, stuff like that. I wasn't really able to. I wouldn't didn't have the capability of watching the basketball game, like I would have really wanted to. But I was so in tune to football starting today, I wasn't even really worried about it. Honestly, well, I'm not going to even get into that part yet. We'll talk about that here in a second. But man, it's just everything's been going great. Besides just trying to still trying to recover from this hurricane, man. I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds crazy. It was several weeks ago, but man, it's really just still getting back in the swing of things. Stuff is finally starting to get back to normal for me.
Well, that's good. Normal is always good. I'm glad things getting better. Yeah. So as far as me, just man, just enjoying these weekends. I don't have nothing special going on. Just sitting back, relaxing, and being able to enjoy it, being able to take a break. But so let's go ahead and dive into it. NBA playoffs. So we had the Toronto Raptors versus the Boston Celtics, the Nuggets and Clippers, the Rockets and Lakers, and the Heat and Bucks. So the Heat and Bucks, let's just start there. Wow, what a waste of a playoff series, man.
Really.
What a waste of a playoff series. I mean, the Heat was my pick. The Heat is my pick to go to the finals from out of the East. But I thought it was going to be competitive. It wasn't even close. Giannis, I'm disappointed in him. He he worked on his game, but his outside shot's still not good enough,
Mm-mm.
and he don't have the pieces. I compared him to the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron was there, and I feel like my analysis of that was right on, as far as not saying the people that LeBron had was just as good as the people that Giannis got, but LeBron needed somebody with him. He didn't have good enough pieces to compete at a championship level, and
Right.
yeah, I feel like that's what Giannis is going through right now. What's your thoughts
Well,
on that team and that series? Well, the team, because we know what the series is.
the thing about Giannis at this point, he puts up big numbers, but he has not made he. I don't see him capable of being able to make his team better, making everybody better around him. That's something LeBron James been able to do since he came into the league. Even if in his rookie season, you could see it. I mean, like you talk about those Mo Williams, like you know, last show you were mentioning Mo Williams was an all-star, had all-star caliber, all-star potential. No, that was LeBron James made him look like he had all-star potential. And certain people, he made his team, he makes players better, and he's been doing it. Giannis does not do that. If you notice with the Bucks, even with Giannis healthy, which I will say, him getting hurt and stuff it was a big deal because I mean he was killing it, dominating. That game when he got hurt and hurt his ankle. Not to say that would have made a difference, but who's to say it wouldn't have? We seen Denver come back from 3-1 deficits. What maybe twice now. So, it's one of those things where I feel like Giannis's biggest hurdle is making his team better. He's not. I mean, the dude can average 34 and 17, but what the pieces around him aren't benefiting from that 34 and 17.
Yeah.
When you see LeBron play, his team benefits from his style of play. The
Yeah.
Bucks don't benefit from Giannis' style of play in the playoffs, basically.
Yeah. Of course, the rumors are circulating about Giannis and him going to another team. And I read an article in Yahoo that came out a couple of days ago with him saying that he don't know where that's coming from. He has no plans on leaving. Of course, people don't believe it. People look at stuff like, so supposedly he unfollowed all his teammates on social media, and people are taking that as a sign that he is leaving Milwaukee. I don't know, bro. I feel like I mentioned last week. I feel like he got that kind of personality where he is gonna be loyal to the team, and I'm standing by that. I don't feel like he gonna leave. But if he stays, man, they need to get something there. I don't know how they're gonna do it because ain't nobody beating down their door to get to Milwaukee. But if he stays, they they better
Well,
get a diamond in the rough in the draft or something.
I kind of read something too that said, a lot of people speaking on what you said about him unfollowing the team. I read an article too. Not I don't know the truth of it or how correct it is, but I read something that says he does that after every year. That's not something
Yeah,
new. They're just making a big deal about it because of what happened. They say he does that every year. He follows everybody. He always does that. But one thing that I read was they're going to try to move Eric Bledsoe.
I mean, if they can move him to get something good, that'd be great because he's not a good point guard for that team.
No, he's not.
Um,
He's not an off the ball point
so
guard.
yeah, I like the way that boy DiVincenzo was playing. You know,
Yeah,
I like the
yeah.
way he was playing. Well,
He
anyway, let's
nice.
move on. Let's move on. We talked about them too long.
Yeah.
Toronto and Boston. That was a great series, man. I chose the Raptors to move into the finals. Of course, I was off, but it was a great series. Um, the Siakam, I still feel like Siakam was the piece that they needed to propel them
He
because he
was.
he just didn't play well. He just didn't. Like Lowry was consistent, Van Fleet was consistent. He needed to play where he was last year in the playoffs.
Right,
If he
right.
would have played at that level, they would have beat Boston. And
Remember
he
what I
never
told you
played at
about
that
Jalen
level.
Brown? That
Yeah.
Jalen Brown comparison that we had with who was it from Miami? Um, was it Crowder or not Crowder? But is it Crowder?
No, I said I was comparing why I think Miami would be a better
No, we were
would
saying like
would be a
Jalen
better
Brown was like a souped up.
souped up. Oh yeah, because of the defense, but he can
Yeah,
score. That's the
but-
difference. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And the thing is, that was the problem with Siakam. Jalen
yeah,
Brown. Jalen Brown is a lockdown defender. I mean, he really is. And I was even, talking to some of the guys at work about this series, and because I was telling them Boston's gonna win it. To be honest
hmm
with you, they would have already won it if they had Gordon Hayward. Playing that
yeah,
boxing one and all the stuff that Toronto was trying to do, they wouldn't have been able to do it. But when you look at the totality, like I told them, overall, Jalen Brown is the most versatile. He's the two-way player for them. Jason Tatum's the guy, but Jalen Brown is the guy that's going to guard the best player, and he can give you 20 to 25.
yeah,
I just feel like Siakam's problem was he was playing somebody that was just as long as him, just as athletic, and it was. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, they boxed him. They put a wall up against him. They wasn't letting him drive and stuff like that. They basically did it with the whole team. Toronto had to shoot to beat them.
yeah, yeah. For me, I think Siakam is just not that player we thought he was. Because you're not supposed to. You shouldn't allow nobody to stop you if you that player. Like you look at somebody like Tatum. He had some bad games. He didn't have a superstar series. He had some superstar games, but because he's not a superstar yet. But when it came down to Game 7, he did what he needed to do
Yeah,
as a leader of that team. And I just don't think Siakam. He may be that player. He's not that player yet. clearly he's not that player yet. You know, he's young, so who knows? But that was a great series. I look forward to this Miami Boston series. I feel like Miami is
Ooh.
gonna win it. It's gonna be a good series though. I definitely see this series going 7 games. I'd be surprised if it don't go 7 games. 6 at the least. I'd be
If
surprised
they
if it go
don't
less than that.
if they don't get Gordon Hayward back, it won't go 7.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Gordon Hayward and me. You talked about this off the air, but I feel like Gordon Hayward is a great player, and if you have him, you play him. But I feel like there's so many. I feel like the roles are more solidified with Gordon Hayward not playing. I feel like you don't have to share as much because all of those guys are ball dominant as far as they need the ball in their hands. Like
Right.
look at somebody like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, he would have good games, but not consistent. Why? Because Gordon Hayward would have a good game. Jason Tatum would have a good game. Kemba Walker would have a good game. Jaylen Brown was probably the most consistent one with what he was doing on the team.
Right.
He didn't. Jason Tatum had better games if you count like how well he did overall when you look at all the games. But Jaylen Brown was consistent night after night after night, and I think his role is easier for him to on offense. Anyways, his role is easy to define for what he needs to do with Gordon Hayward gone. And I'm not going to say they would have lost or won with Gordon Hayward. I'm just saying I feel like it's easier, for them to know their roles. But
Right.
with the Heat, I don't know. I don't know how much difference
I
Gordon
just think
Hayward would
they
make
go. I
with
think
them.
I think they're gonna need the scoring. That's the sole reason why I say it. I
Well,
think
that
they're
may
gonna
be
need the
true.
scoring because I mean, don't get me wrong. We watched. You look at Boston. Okay, of course you got some killers. You got Kemba. You got Jalen. You got Jason Tatum. You even Marcus Smart been killing it offensively. But
Yeah.
who do you have coming off the bench? Nobody. Like, I mean, when you talk about when their starters go out, I mean, you talking about the two people, the rotation. Of course, they shrunk them up anyway. But the people you got coming in right now is Robert Williams, Sam Ojeley, and Brad Wanamaker.
Well, the way they play, because because they have such a good starting five, well, 4 out of 5, they never
And
have a
Tice.
moment where none of them off the well. I'm talking about scoring wise. They
Yeah,
never have a moment where all of them are off the floor. So the way
that's
that
true.
Brad Stevens does the rotation, he always has one of those on 4 on the Tatum is either on the floor, Brown is on the floor, Smart is on the floor, or Kimber Walker's on the floor.
Right.
And because it's the playoffs, the rotation shortened, you get more minutes. I mean, what you're saying about Gordon Hayward would be convenient for them and would help them. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that because they are deep with their starting five, then that actually just helps with the rotations because
Right.
you can take 2 of them off and keep 2 on and then bring the other 2 out and bring 2 more on. Like Jason
Right.
Tatum, he comes out the game pretty quickly sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, and they're still able to continue to score. But Gordon Hayward may be playing because I read that he's back in the bubble. His price on FanDuel went up. That's how I saw it. It went up from
Right.
35
Right.
to 65. So they anticipating the fact that he may play. Who knows if that's going to happen? But if it does, it's definitely going to make for an even more interesting series.
Yeah.
Um, let's go ahead and move on. Lakers, Rockets. I think I said 5. I can't remember. What did you say with the Lakers and
We
Rockets? I think I said 5. I
we
know I
both
didn't say
said
7.
5.
It was either
No,
5
we
or
both
6.
we both said
You know,
5 because I think after the first game we both said it would be over in 5. I don't
yeah,
think
because I
either
remember.
one of us gave it over 5 games because no, we both said 5. I think.
Yeah, because I remember comparing it to people panicking or not panicking, or people either panicking or saying, "Oh, it's gonna be a series because of what happened in the first game." I compared it to the Portland Trailblazers, and I was like, "Nah, I never really worried about the Portland Trailblazers, and I didn't worry about the Houston Rockets." And it was over in 5. It ended the other day, and so I don't
It
really have
was
much to say
over
about
in
the
3.
Lakers. You
It
know,
was over in 3. To be
you know,
honest with you, the
well,
last
pretty
couple
much,
games
yeah.
wasn't even games. I mean, it was really after that third game. It was a bruh. When they made the change to go small, the series was over.
Mhm. Yeah.
That as soon as and that was game 3 when they decided to start Markieff Morris and bruh, where has he? come from? Okay, Frank Vogel, you know, watching these cats in
Nah,
practice.
it ain't got nothing to do with where he come from. It's about chemistry and not change and make changes. He came to the team in March, and Frank Vogel didn't make that change simply because this is like they already had established a rhythm of starting
No,
five
yeah,
people
but
coming off the
no, I'm
bench,
not talking
like
about him starting. I'm talking about him playing
get minutes.
more.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. No, the starting, I'm not arguing the starting. I'm arguing why has he only been playing like 4 minutes a game?
I never understood that myself. When they signed Marquise Morris, I was excited because I was like, that's going to provide even more depth on the bench that they need, compare them to the Clippers, of course. And when he wasn't getting a lot of minutes, I was very surprised because like if you noticed how he played when he was with Detroit, it was with Detroit, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to remember what he was because I know that the Twins or whatever. But if you saw him play, he was playing well. Yeah, because Marcus was with New York. He was
right.
playing well. He was just on a terrible team, but he was playing well. He was getting minutes, about 25 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes a game, and he didn't play terrible. He played well. He just was a terrible team. So when they got him, a lot of times when you get players that have played well in the past, but they're not playing well in the moment, a lot of times those players are playing on terrible teams,
Right.
and then they move and get motivated, i.e., J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert from New York to Cleveland. People
Yeah.
thought they was done, and then as soon as they get to Cleveland, it's like, where did these guys come from? They was playing on a terrible Knicks team. They wasn't motivated to play well. So Marquise Morris, I felt the same way. But when he wasn't getting playing time, I was wondering. I wondered the same thing. Like, why is he not getting about 20 minutes a game?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and even in this series, I felt like they should have started the series with Marquise Morris. Although I do understand from a coaching perspective, you go with what got you there, and then you make adjustments if you need to. But just looking at the Rockets, because like if you was playing the Clippers and you were playing bad, and then you need to make an adjustment, I would have understood that more because it was the Clippers. But with the Rockets, the tallest guy is 6'7", Robert Covington,
Right.
and he's not even playing a center position.
Right.
Like I would have just said, you know what, this is how we gonna start.
Yeah.
And it didn't, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. But you're right, Markieff Morris should have been playing more, and I hope that this is not a Houston Rockets series thing, and he tries to go back to what they were doing
There's no
with
way
the
it can
starting
be the
five.
way he played. There's no way you can do that. The way he's played, there's no way you cannot give him 15 to
I
20
agree.
minutes a game. You got to.
It got to be more than 15 to 20. Well, 15 minutes. I
15,
say
no,
20
I'm
to
saying 20.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I give you that. But you know, with Rondo coming back too, ooh, big shout out to Rondo too. Boy came back on
Oh
fire.
yeah.
Boy come back with a vengeance,
Playoff
man.
Rondo is
You
a
can
real
see
thing.
the
Playoff
difference
Rondo is a
in
real
the
thing.
Lakers with Rondo on that court and LeBron being able to just lay back and just do his thing and drive, don't have to worry about facilitating. They're a completely different team with Rondo.
If Rondo is able to consistently hit shots, that's going to be dangerous for anybody. The other two teams that they have to play, the
Yeah,
Clippers or the Nuggets, because we're about to get to them in a second.
yeah, buddy.
Because if you have to guard Rondo, like for real, guard him at the 3-point line, he gonna eat the offense up just like
Right.
LeBron. You know,
And the crazy
part
thing is
of
he's been
yeah.
shooting well. He's been
I know that's
shooting
why I
well.
say if he can hit
Yeah,
shots because he's
I,
been hitting shots. He
yeah, I
didn't
think
need to
they
hit
said
him
he like
yesterday. You
9 or
know,
17 from three. I'm like, that's
yeah.
Rondo? Okay. Oh, bro, if Rondo can shoot almost 50% from three, no, ain't
I mean,
nobody
if
beating the
Rondo,
Lakers.
and that's like a bonus. If he can shoot,
Yeah,
if he can shoot 35 to 40% from three, like
right,
like that's more realistic of what. But if he shoot like 40% from three, oh yeah, that's a wrap.
right.
But yeah, so what was the real big topic is this series that everybody thought was gonna be over on Friday, the Clippers and the Nuggets. Everybody
Bro,
thought that this was gonna be a 5 game series,
including
six at
me,
the most.
including
I
me.
I thought that the Nuggets were going to give them a some competition, but I didn't think that they were going to win it. I think that they could win it now. I
I do
do. I
too.
think that they could win it now. I thought it was going to go about 6 games, and I thought that the games would be for the most part competitive because Denver's not a bad team. They're not
Right.
a easy a pushover team. Even when we talked last week, I said I hope the Denver Nuggets win. I feel like they got the potential to win. I hope they win simply because my reasoning for that was because I wanted people to take Kawhi off this pedestal that they put him on, as being the best player in the league or whatever. But I didn't believe it was going to actually happen.
Right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, Jokic, whew,
Joker
I don't have
killing
no
it.
words. I don't
And
have no
we
words.
know one thing we do know about Clippers. We know their Achilles heel. Big men,
What's their Achilles heel?
big men.
Yeah,
They can't guard the center position.
they can't.
And
Jokic.
Jokic is annihilating him. At first, even the first couple of games when I saw him, I'm like, Jokic, come on, man, you got to be more aggressive. And I guess the
Mm-hmm.
coach told him too, hey, bro, let's get it. Like Jamal Murray's been carrying us. We need you, like you the dude. Like, I think me and you even talked about this. I don't know if it was on the last episode or it's just randomly talking when we were talking about, Jokic's supposed to be the best player on that team.
Yeah,
But
that was
here
me.
lately, it's been Jamal Murray. No,
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if it was us talking on the phone or if it was actually on
yeah,
the show. But the thing is, this last couple of games, Jokic has played like he's the best player.
yeah, yeah.
I,
Because right now he is. I think Jamal Murray is going to be the best player overall. He just has too many other abilities. But I think Jokic right now is the best player on the team. And look, his stat line today was 34 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal in the block. I mean that's coming
that's from a center.
coming through in the clutch.
That's
You
a
know what I'm saying?
center.
Exactly. And but the even if Jamal Murray was the best player right now, to beat this team, Jokic has to be the best player. You have to
Right,
play through him because of what their strength is on defense. Their strength is guarding the wing, guarding the point guards, not the center.
right,
So he has to play like that again on Tuesday for them to win this series. Because if he doesn't play like that, they're not going to win. Jamal Murray is not going to he's not going to go out there and score no 45, 50 points against the Clippers. If
right,
that's what they're dependent on, then they're not going to make it. Now, he can give you 20 like he did today. He can give you 20, which I think he's probably averaging that or close to it. He can give you that, but he's not going to be the one that goes off for 40 points like he did against Utah. So, man, this is a great series. I can't wait
bro.
to Tuesday so we can, see the conclusion of it.
Big
Plus on
shout out.
Tuesday,
Big shout out to Denver, bro. Big shout out to Denver. I wrote them off. I wrote them off and completely wrote them off Friday. I told you it was done. Man, it's over, bro. I'm
yeah.
not even watching that game. So, man, big shout out to Denver. Them boys got heart. If you ain't got nothing else, you got heart. And you missing Will Barton.
And shout out to Michael Porter Jr. for making the comments he made. I don't know if that had anything to do with how they came together and how they, like started to kind of change the way they was playing. But Michael Porter Jr. made the comments. He was asked by the media, on game 4 when they went down 3-1, he had like 15 or 18 points in the first half and didn't score again in the second half. And they asked him why he didn't score anymore, and he was like, "I didn't get the ball." You could tell he was upset.
Right.
And then they asked him another question, and he said something in regards to, that you got to ask the coach, like the ball didn't get to me or it didn't come in my hands, and then he said something to the effect of, you know, like Jokic and Murray is like they're good players. They say, but with this team, he said specifically with this team, you can't just depend on two people to win you the game. We got to move the ball around more and get the ball in more people's hands. And people was like, shitting on him or whatever because they were saying, you a rookie, like pay your dues. I heard Paul Pierce telling him to pay his dues, young fella. He was wrong for saying that, but he didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Yeah, the thing
What he
was,
said was true.
it's Mike Malone, right? Mike Malone's the
Mm-hmm.
coach.
Yes,
Mike
Mike
Malone
Malone.
agreed with him. He said he just should have said it in house.
Exactly.
As a young player, the only thing he did wrong in that situation is say it to the
Say
media.
it to the media.
You
Exactly.
were right, and they said he was right. And you know what? I'm a one up you and give him even more kudos because not only did you say that, but then you come back the next game and hit the big three to basically put the game away. So not only did you say it, you backed it up by making a big shot in the game to basically propel your team to last. So I mean, big shout outs to you being a youngster, having the guts to come out and saying what you say and back it up in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, man. I like the Nuggets. They got this confidence. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Nuggets gonna win it in 7 on Tuesday.
I'm
I'm gonna
rooting for
ride
him.
with them.
I'm rooting for him
I'm
all
too.
the way.
So hopefully when we talk, well, not hopefully, next week when we talk, we'll definitely be talking about the two finals teams, final series, Eastern Conference, West Conference finals, because we'll know exactly who playing in the West. Let's go on, move on to some football, man.
Yeah, buddy, let's
That's
do
what
it.
this show is gonna be about. This show gonna be about football. So you kick it off, man. Just kick it off. So we gonna talk about the actual games that have already happened. You know, for those of y'all who listening, we record this. Well, first let's talk about a new schedule. So we're gonna record on a new schedule. So we were recording just on for Mondays. Now we're gonna be recording 2 days a week. So we're gonna record. We're gonna drop episodes on Mondays and Fridays. The Monday episode is gonna be of of all of Sunday's games, and a little prediction analysis for the Monday night games, and then our Friday game is going to be predictions for Sunday's games, as well as giving you some good daily fantasy and regular fantasy advice. If you play a year long team, we're gonna give you some advice on plays to play, as well as some good daily plays, value, and stuff like that. So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and talk about these games for today. Now we may not go through all the games, we may just touch on a few, and talk about some more in length. But let's get started. Seahawks Falcons. Did you catch any of that game?
Actually, a little bit of it. Didn't catch a whole lot. So I caught a lot of the stats. I saw where Russell Wilson did 31 or 35 and 4 touchdowns. I saw that.
Yeah,
He basically annihilated the Falcons defense, which is what I pretty much expected. What I was impressed with Seattle's defense. The Falcons have a pretty high powered offense, so I was impressed just seeing the way they come together. Jamal Adams, I was really wanting to see how he fit in. Of course, in Seattle, pretty much any good defensive players, he's gonna fit in. But I wanted to see how it was gonna work. And it seems to be a really good thing. They seem to be pretty good. Julio Jones, actually, both of the receivers, I think, ended up doing well. The two starting receivers, I can't think of. He's kind of slipping my mind now for Atlanta.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, but he had a big game. Julio Jones had a big game, but you could clearly see it was kind of a bend don't break type of defense. They gave up yards, but they didn't really, when it came down to it, they played very good defense. But Russell Wilson looked like MVP.
Yeah,
Chris Carson too. Chris Carson looked good. Chris Carson come out running the ball hard, looking good. But it's Russell Wilson all day for me, man. Russell Wilson, he was something serious.
yeah. Russell Wilson did look really good. The Seahawks look good as a whole. The Falcons, I worry about. I say worry. I don't really worry about it. I don't really care about the Falcons because I'm a Saints fan, so I'm glad they lost. But the coaching is what I'm talking about. I wonder about their coaching. I feel like they need a new head coach, a new coaching staff, because they have too many weapons. They have too good of an offense to not be consistent when it comes to putting up points. Like the Falcons should at the very least be a team that puts up 30 points a game, and if they lose, it's because their defense is not good enough.
Right.
Like that's what kind of offense they have. They added Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley had 14 carries pretty much at halftime, and he finished with 14 carries. Like we know what kind of receiver he is out of the backfield. He's much better than Devontae Freeman, but yet when you had him, you used Devontae Freeman in the passing game as well as in the run game. Why are you not using Todd Gurley that way? You see him running. He's explosive. He doesn't. He's not. I mean, I know that they're managing his knee, but in practice they're managing it so he doesn't have any issues. He's fine as far as his health. I feel like Todd Gurley should have been should have been a more of a part of that game, and he wasn't. The Falcons are going to have another terrible year. I think they're going to have another terrible year. Just watching that first game today, I know it was the first game, but they looked like the same Falcons from last year. Jets and Bills. I don't really have much to say about that game. The Jets suck. It was evident in the way that they played today. The Bills, we're gonna see if they're still the team to beat. I say still. If they're gonna be the team to beat in the AFC East with Tom Brady gone. Josh Allen looked really good today, running the ball, throwing the ball. Did you get any thoughts on that game?
Not a whole lot, except for the fact that Josh Allen did look really good. Stephon Diggs looked good, pretty good too. I know he didn't have his stats weren't overwhelming by any means, but just seeing the consistency, 8 for 86 in his first game, and I wasn't. I was pretty impressed. He looked good, but somebody else that also I know a lot of it came off of a big long game. But Jamison Crowder, he also had a really good
Yeah,
game.
yeah, he had
So
a long.
but for 100, I think that was 70 yards. So he still had six for what he had 115. So he still almost had 6 for 60. Even before that catch. So big shout out to him. With them basically having absolutely nothing else, him able to get 7 catches for 115 yards is pretty good. But that's pretty much all I got for that.
Yeah, the Jets suck. They just not a good team. They're not gonna play well this year. Bears Lions. That was a crazy game. The whole game, the Lions were in control, and then all of a sudden, Trubisky caught fire. Like it just came out of nowhere. Like he ended up with like 200 and something yards, 270, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. It came back from like 23-3 in the
Yeah.
second half, and they ended up scoring in the last, like a few minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they won 27-23. The Lions actually should have won that game though, because with seconds left, Matthew Stafford throws to a wide open DeAndre Swift, who catches it. Like he didn't catch it, like he had it, and as he was turning to go to the end zone, he fumbled the ball out of his hands. He was wide open, like wide open, not like the man was here, like right to his left or to his right. He literally was standing by himself, and he missed it. And then they had one time for one more play, and they didn't score, and they lost 27-23. But that's Detroit for you. That is
Yep.
Detroit for you. They have some of the worst luck in the world when it comes to winning games. Um,
They will find a way to lose them.
But Trubisky played like Trubisky normally does in the first half, so we'll see what Trubisky we get the next week. Packers versus Vikings. Wow. I don't know if you got a chance to see none of that game, but this is the Aaron Rodgers that we all have come to believe is the best NFL quarterback to ever touch a field before Patrick Mahomes came along. He looked like vintage Rodgers today. I mean, they say he has this like this mindset that's different. Like he's been doing yoga and stuff. Like he's just like he's kind of more free, And I've listened to him in a couple of interviews, and he sounds like a person that's just like, you know, one of those people that says things like, "You have no control." Things are gonna work out the way they're gonna work out. You're like one of those people that just
Yeah.
lives.
Right.
Well, he damn sure played like it today.
Well,
I
he got a
mean,
chip on his shoulder too.
whew,
I
I
don't
have
think
him on
for
a
a
fantasy
second he.
team. I have him on fantasy team. I have him on both of my leagues, and I put him on the bench because Minnesota, good defense. Plus Cam Newton, I felt like he was gonna have a good game. Carson Wentz against the Redskins, I was like, oh, it's about the matchups. This boy threw for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. I will never take him off my lineup again. I don't care who they playing. If that's the Aaron Rodgers that we gonna get this year, he will be in my lineup from week 2 all the way to week 17.
Yeah, and you didn't do a
Um,
bad thing by playing Cam. Cam had a pretty good game for his first game in New England. Of course, the 2 rushing touchdowns helped his day. So
mhm.
that's basically what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But Carson Wentz for sure. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers just lit it. He just lit it up, bro. He lit it up. Like I said, he
Yeah,
got
he
something to
did.
prove though. Don't think for a second the man don't have a chip on his shoulder and he ain't coming out to show everybody and Green Bay included that y'all are idiots. I still got
Yeah,
plenty left in the tank. Y'all wasted a first round pick this year, and I'm gonna show y'all did.
yeah, exactly. So Patriots Dolphins, that was another weak game. Even
Yeah,
though it was a game that people wanted to see because we wanted to see how Cam Newton was going to look and how the Patriots were going to look without Brady for the first time in forever. And the Patriots looked decent. They played against a Dolphins team, so of course when they play against a better team, we will get a better idea of how they're going to look. Cam Newton looked fine. He looked like the normal Cam Newton,
he did.
a quarterback who is not known for throwing, but can make plays with his legs and make plays with his arm when he needs to, and that's exactly what he did. I feel like if they needed him to make more plays today, they would have. I mean, they would
Exactly.
make calls. I think they were very conservative on offense, And it makes sense because he's been out for almost 2 years, 2 seasons, and he's new to this team. But overall, Cam Newton played well.
Well, I got some real quick on this game. I will say they were playing the Dolphins, but historically, we know the Dolphins usually play the Patriots very well,
This
even
is
when
true.
they had Tom Brady. So,
Yeah.
to say that they absolutely dominated Miami. To me, they dominated Miami better than they have in the last several years when they had Tom Brady on the team.
Yeah.
They usually always play them. They have trouble with Miami. They had no trouble with them whatsoever today.
I
None.
agree.
And I actually think Miami is better than they have been in years past. We are still talking about Miami, but I still think they're not that terrible, even though what's his name did get hurt.
Devontae Parker.
Parker got hurt, so I think that hurt
Yeah.
them too with their weapons as far as. But Cam looked good, bro. Cam looked really good.
Yeah. I agree. Eagles. Oh, I was about to say Redskins. Eagles in the Washington football team. That was a surprise. The Washington football team won 27-17. The Eagles came out looking like they were going to run away with this game.
They did.
17 points real quick. And that's all they scored was 17 points real quick. Never scored again.
All right.
Uh, the quarterback for Washington, what is his name again?
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. Yes, Dwayne Haskins didn't have a great game for a quarterback, but the Washington defense today, I don't know how this is going to be for the rest of the year, but today, the defense showed up. I
Right.
mean, they were all over Carson Wentz. He got he got pummeled. Uh, the and I was surprised that Deshaun Watson wasn't used as much. I thought that he would have gotten a lot of targets. But
Jackson.
what I said, Watson, yes, my
Yeah.
bad. Deshaun Jackson, my bad.
Okay.
Yes, Deshaun Jackson. But that was a surprise. I've never been that big of a Carson Wentz fan. A lot of people think he is the truth. That year that he was having an MVP season, I thought he had a great season. But because he came back after that, like the last 2 or 3 years after when he came back from that MVP caliber season, he didn't play well. He got injured a lot. And I was like, I don't know if this guy is really what everybody thinks he is, and I still don't. And I mean, today he had weapons. He didn't have Miles Sanders, but he had weapons as far as Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Greg Ward, who proved that he was a good receiver when he was the number one last year. Now he was more like the number four. Their draft pick Jalen Reagor, and he just didn't do anything. I mean, he had a decent stat line, but as far as how he played, I wasn't impressed. What about you?
Me neither. And you know how I feel. You know I'm a big Carson Wentz fan.
Yeah.
I am starting to think Carson Wentz needs a running game.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz is more of a play action quarterback. Big arm, but he is not a drop back, just drop back 3 to 5 step, 5 to 7 drop and sling the ball around the field type of quarterback. I mean, it's clear to me just looking at the stats, which if you look at the stats, you're like, hey, he didn't have a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, yes, he did actually.
If you
I
saw it,
mean,
yeah, if you saw it.
exactly. Plus, he got sacked 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
You get sacked 8 times. Well, to me, there's two things. There's two things that cause that. One, which has been a knock on him, which is holding the ball too long. Another thing is you don't have a running game, so they're teeing off. They don't have to respect the run. Which, if you look at it, I mean, their leading rusher, Boston Scott, 9 carries for 35 yards,
See, this is the
3.9
thing.
average.
They don't have a running game. For this particular game, I don't know if it was more that the running game wasn't working, which I don't think that's what it was, or that they didn't attempt to run the ball enough because they were throwing the ball down the field a lot.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why he got sacked is because he was throwing the ball down the field a lot. He wasn't throwing a lot of short passes. He wasn't throwing a lot of time passes. He was throwing the ball down the field a lot. So I feel like they could have had a running game if they would have tried to run the ball more. And with them being up as 17-3,
17
I feel
nothing.
like 17 nothing and then 17-3, you're right. I feel like that was a time to establish the running game, but they never really tried.
Right.
So I know when they had Miles Sanders last year, he ran the ball well. And a lot of times when you run the ball well, it's because you have a good line It's just if you have a good back, you have a really good running game because that back is, exceptional, which
Right.
Miles Sanders is a really good back. So I don't know. I just feel like, that game wasn't really coached that great as far as the play calling, but also Carson Wentz,
He got
he
to
still
step
got a
it
lot
up.
of,
And
yeah,
he
he got to
said it
step it up.
himself. He said it
Yeah.
himself. He got to play better. He can't turn the ball over.
Raiders in Carolina. So this was a shootout. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater played really well. I was surprised at Teddy Bridgewater, the way he threw the ball. He threw for 270 yards. He only had one touchdown because, of course, Christian McCaffrey got two runs within the 5 yard line. But Teddy Bridgewater played well. To be honest, he played good enough to win that game, in my opinion. The defense for Carolina, they're not known for the defense anymore. They used to be a franchise that was known for defense with Ron Rivera. That is not the case. They've drafted several positions for defense, so they have a lot of new players there. Free agent signings. They don't have Luke Kuechly anymore. Just a lot of their older players. I say older players. They're not old players because Luke Kuechly was still young. He just decided to retire. But a lot of their players that made that defense stout are no longer on their team. And it really showed against the Las Vegas Raiders team, who I don't know how good they really are. Josh
That's
Jacobs is really good.
that's what I was gonna say. They
You
look
know?
pretty good.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, if I mean you look at it, they don't. You look at their receivers and everything. It's like Ruggs looks like their best receiver, and he's a rookie.
I mean, and he may very well be. His first catch was like for 45 yards. He got hurt, so he didn't finish the game. He may have had an even bigger stat line. But Waller is really their best receiver right now. We'll see if Ruggs is going to be the better receiver, even though Waller is not a receiver, he's a tight end. But he's one of those pass catching tight ends. So he is, like, if you look, you see he received the most targets today. He had 8 targets and he caught 6 balls, 6 out of those 8 targets. He's a big guy, big frame, has good hands. So Rieger is more of a downfield. I mean, not Rieger. Ruggs is more of a downfield threat. But he may turn out to be a possession receiver as well. We'll see. He's a rookie. Well, you're right. When you look at their lineup, you're like, man, their receivers trash. Like this
Is
should be,
Tyrell is Tyrell Williams hurt?
he got hurt. Yeah, he on
Okay, because I'm
IR. I
like,
think he's out for the season. To be honest, I think he's out for the
wow.
year.
Because I'm looking like, bro, kudos to David Carr for going 22 or 30 with 239, bro.
Yeah,
You
he played
throw,
well, but see, that's why I say I don't know how good this team really is because the Carolina
yeah,
Panthers defense is terrible, and it was
yeah,
bad last year.
yeah.
So we'll see what what the Raiders defense really is. I was just impressed with Teddy Bridgewater,
Yeah,
me
he
personally.
did look
I
good.
like
He
Teddy
really looked good.
Bridgewater, and he looked good his first game with the Carolina Panthers. So I was impressed with that, and but overall, that wasn't really the most exciting game. I just wanted to comment on Teddy Bridgewater. Colts, Jaguars, Phillip Rivers. Man, so the Jaguars, I think if you had to vote like which teams the top the bottom 5 teams, I think the Jaguars would probably be right at the bottom, maybe with the Dolphins. I think those 2 teams would probably be voted as the worst teams in the league. Maybe the Jets. The Jets right there too. But the Jaguars are right there. And nobody gave the Jaguars a chance. The Colts defense, I think, was one of the top defenses on fantasy. And I mean, Phillip Rivers had this hell of a game as far as his yards. He threw almost 400 yards. He threw the ball to like 11 different people. Like if you look at his stats, you'll be like, oh man, Phillip Rivers spread the ball out. He threw the ball to all these different people. He threw for 363 yards, but he also threw 2 interceptions. And the Jaguars, Gardner Minshew didn't have a great
Uh,
game as far as throwing the ball. As
huh?
far as like he didn't have a great game as far as his yards, but he had 2
Okay.
touchdowns.
Yeah,
So
he
it's
was
like
19 or 20.
I know, but a lot of that. Look at his yards,
Oh, I know
173.
it was
So it was
8.7.
short
Yeah,
stuff. It was
right,
short
right,
stuff, you
right.
know. But if you look at the running back, he had 62 yards, so they moved the ball down the field a little bit as far as running the ball. The running game wasn't terrible when you look at, Gardner Minshew ran the ball for 19 times. Laviska Chenault, he's a rookie. I'm guessing he did some end arounds or something like that, But when you look at the stats, Like none of the receivers killed it.
Mm-mm.
Like so that's what I'm saying. Is like they just the two interceptions is probably what did it. To be completely honest, they probably because I didn't see this game, so I am speculating. But those two interceptions, they probably was able to capitalize off those two interceptions. Because if you showed me just the stats, I would say and take away the interceptions and the touchdowns, and just show me Phillip Rivers 360 something yards and all the receivers that were used, and then showed me um the Jaguar stats. Minshew with 174, and then the receivers who barely cracked 50 yards. Nobody cracked 50 yards. I would have told you that the Colts demolished the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I
I,
mean, I don't really have anything to report on them
I
outside of the fact that Phillip Rivers has just had some terrible
I don't
luck,
I don't
man.
think it's Phillip Rivers.
What do you think it is?
I'm calling straight coaching.
Okay.
Why is this score 27-20 and I see Phillip Rivers 36 or 46 for 363 yards when you got Jonathan Taylor, you got Marlon Mack, you got Naheem Hines. You ran the ball 22 times. All Marlon Mack, which he did get hurt, but he was averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Taylor only 2.4, but Naheem Hines 4 yards a carry. Why weren't you running the ball more?
This is true.
What
Yeah.
is going on? Like, why is Phillip Rivers throwing the ball 46 times? Yeah, you go you. I would say two interceptions. Not surprised when you're throwing the ball 46 times,
Yeah.
especially when you don't have to. It's not like they were getting blew out and he was having to come back and throw the ball. They just did. Dude, look at Jonathan Taylor. He's a running back. He got as many catches as he do carries and more
Yeah.
receiving yards. Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines, they have more catches than they do rushes. They're running backs.
Yeah.
What is going like? At some point, you got to try to control the game. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you saw some highlights of that game. Naheem Hines looked good.
Yeah. I mean, he
He
was
looked really
catching.
good.
He
He
was. He
was
was.
catching. He
He
was
was the
running.
main
He was
target.
doing it. He was doing it all, bro. I mean, even the rushing game, he was 7 for 28 for 4 yards a carry. You just wasn't giving him the ball.
Yeah.
Bro,
I mean,
you got to hand the ball. You got to run the ball a bit more than that. You can't expect Phillip Rivers at this point in his career to be throwing the ball 46 times.
I agree. I agree. I agree. All right. Ravens and Browns. Lamar Jackson looking like the MVP that he was last year. I don't really have much to say about this, but the Browns doing what the Browns do. That's it.
Yep.
I drafted Odell Beckham Jr. hoping he was gonna have a bounce back. It ain't looking too good. I know it's the first game, and I know they're going against a. The positive thing about Odell is he got 10 targets. He led the team in targets. He only had 3 catches though, so trying to get him the ball. But
But they are playing Baltimore too, bro.
that's true. Chargers and Bengals. That was a terrible game. Oh my God. Joe Burrows had a rookie game. You know, played like a rookie. Tyrod Taylor looked like Tyrod Taylor. You know, not a great passing quarterback. He can be more of a game manager. He did just enough to get them to win. Not a very exciting game.
He won't be
We'll
starting
talk
for
about
long.
this. We'll talk about your team last. I was saving it for last, so you wouldn't get mad and then be mad the whole rest of the show.
I've been mad the whole show anyway. I mean, if you could see my facial expression, so it wouldn't have helped neither here nor there. I've been upset since about
Yeah.
5:30, 6 o'clock.
Well, we'll go ahead and talk about the Saints and Buccaneers. Tom Brady, welcome to the NFC, baby. You no longer in the cupcake division. Tom Brady, people don't talk about this a lot because he won Super Bowls, so I give him credit for winning Super Bowls. But Tom Brady has been in the easiest division for a long time. Like, the Jets have never been a threat. Buffalo has never been a threat. Miami has never been a threat. You know why they've never been a threat? It's because their team sucked. Like if the Patriots would have won their division year after year after year, and they were beating Baltimore and Pittsburgh's and Kansas City teams like that was in their division that they played 2 times a year, I wouldn't even be saying this right now. They played
Right,
a terrible division. They played in a terrible, and it's crazy how bad that division has been for so long.
right.
Like so long. Oh my goodness. But welcome to the NFC South, Tom Brady. The Saints dropped the hammer. The defense played excellent. And I know people are gonna say this is his first game with a new team. I don't care. He's the great Tom Brady. and we neutralized his game. We neutralized that team. The Bucks. A lot of people think you can't just insert a player and change a culture just like that. It takes time to change a culture. Could they change the culture by the end of the year? It's possible. But you ain't gonna change the culture just because he signed his name on the paper. And the Bucks do what the Bucks do. They were very undisciplined, on defense. I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the game, Lonnie, but it was
I watched that game.
and two, fourth and two or fourth and one. The Saints were on their own like 20 something yard line. Everybody knew it was gonna be a bluff. The announcers were saying they're probably not going to snap it. They're probably going to just do a hard count. Tampa Bay still fell forward on the first hard count. Like soon as he elevated his voice, they jumped.
Right.
They didn't even let it go 2 or 3 times before they jumped. I'm like, and they had bad calls all game.
Right.
So the Bucks gonna be the Bucks. They may get better. They may change. The culture may change over time. But Tom Brady, you got work to do. It's not gonna be as easy as you probably thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. The only thing I will give Tom Brady in this game, which big kudos to the Saints, they look good. I'm gonna tell you something else. That Bucks defense didn't look too bad either. It's just after a while that Saints defense figured it out. Sean and Drew figured it out because they looked good at first. I was like, man, Bucks might have something with them. But I think you got a matter of you talking about a Bruce Arians, Tom Brady. They didn't really have an off season and things of that sort. So I'm not gonna read into too much because he's still. What I was impressed with Tom Brady, the arm strength, the moving around in the pocket, a few of the things that I just didn't think he could do. He wasn't dipping and dropping and hurrying up and falling to the ground.
I don't know what you, I didn't see. I didn't see what you saw.
No, what I mean is, when I watched Tom Brady today, he didn't look like he was done. Last year, watching him in New England, bro, I was really like, I don't think Tom Brady. I don't even know if he should be starting anymore. That I was having that feeling, and looking at him today, I was a little bit more. I felt like he looked, even in this game one, he looked better than he did last year.
I mean. Perception is a crazy thing. I saw the same Tom Brady. I saw the same Tom Brady missing throws. I saw the same Tom Brady that he can move around in the pocket like he always did because he never got outside the pocket. He never made things happen outside the pocket. I never saw him look like he was done. What I saw was a quarterback that looked like he was not in his prime no more. And he's a quarterback who has to see the difference between Tom Brady and a Drew Brees, like where they are in their careers, even though Tom Brady's a little bit older, is Drew Brees has an offensive minded coach. Tom Brady has one now. They have to get to know each other. He has to get to know his team, his players. They have to, create some type of chemistry. So I will admit that that's probably an element of why they weren't clicking on all cylinders today. They'll get that, but that's more of a cerebral game. Tom Brady looks the way he looked to me last year. He didn't have weapons last year, so that did play a part of it. But I also believe that if he had an offensive-minded head coach, somebody that was a great offensive mind, like a Sean Payton or Bruce Arians, that had been his coach for years, he probably would have still been with the Patriots because he probably would have been still putting up big yards and like Drew Brees is. Like Drew Brees only threw for I don't even think he didn't 200 yards.
He didn't 18 to 30 for 160.
Exactly.
I mean,
so. But
I felt like he was more confident. Like he just didn't look scared. To me, Tom Brady looked scared. Tom Brady looked scared in the pocket last year, and this year he just didn't. He looked different. His confidence level, everything looked, and maybe it's the weapons and stuff like that that's giving him that. But he looked like he was willing to stand in the pocket and take a hit. Like in the last couple of years, dude, if it looked like, bruh, we saw some phantom. Shannon Sharp even called him out a few times, bro. We saw some phantom throwaways and some phantom fall downs in the last couple of years from Tom Brady. Like, hey, bro, nobody even around you?
He did that. I saw it once in this
Once
game
he
where he
did it
threw the
once.
ball
He
way
did.
over that dude's head,
Yeah,
and it's like, where the hell you throwing the ball, Tom Brady? I'm like, the dude was actually open on the screen pass, and he threw it like 10 feet over his head.
I
So,
saw that one.
I mean, I agree with you when you say he looked more confident. That
Yeah.
I do agree with. But I mean, we got a lot of football left,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I just, I always worry about my Saints in the first game because if you go back and really pay attention to the Saints, we tend to start off a little slower than I would like as a fan. We tend to lose our first game a lot, to be honest with you. Like we
Yeah,
lost to Tampa
I
Bay
think they
last year,
said
you know.
Sean Payton's lost like 5 out of the last 6
Yeah, we
first
lose. First
opening
few
day
games
games.
exactly. So I was little, I ain't gonna say worried, but I was like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady go out here and kill it, and the Tampa Bay running. I mean, because they had. I remember 2 years ago with Fitzpatrick, they beat the brakes out of us the first game of the season.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
the only good thing you had going for you is that I think Bruce Arians has also lost his last 4 opening day starts too. So,
hey, somebody had to keep the streak going.
right. So,
Yeah. But yeah, the Saints look good. Kamara look good. He got that money. He signed that contract. Got the first 2 touchdowns, and he does what he does. He's elusive. He catches balls out of the backfield. He runs the ball well. The Saints got this little kid named Deontay Harris who,
bro, that dude's so fast.
oh my goodness, I was like, you don't normally like when you watch them on TV, you don't normally like really see how fast they are because it's on TV. You can see how fast this dude is.
Yes.
Like I was like, good lord, this dude fast. Like I could barely see his legs going back and
Dude is
forth
a
when he was
blur.
running.
He is a blur, bro.
And he gonna be a heck of a punt returner too. He was giving us some good yards on them
He
punt return.
was.
Anyways, let's not make this a Saints the segment. So Cardinals versus 49ers. I'm gonna let you talk about this game because I didn't really get to watch much of it. I just kind of followed it, but I didn't really get to
Well, I
see much
followed
of what
it.
was
I
going on.
followed every bit of it. And to be honest with you, we look good. Look good
Mm-hmm.
starting out. I mean, we came out. It was the type of game I expected it to be. We always have a fight against the Cardinals. Even when the Cardinals last year were considered to be good, we still fought, had dog fights against them. And to be honest with you, I was a little worried because we don't really have any receivers right now. But, just following the game, I was very impressed with our defense. We didn't look like we lost a step on defense. Now, Kyler Murray ended up toward the end of the game, he ate us up. He ended up having scoring 2 rushing touchdowns, or I think Drake may have had one. I think DeAndre Hopkins caught the ball on the one and he rushed it in. But I mean, Kyler Murray ate us up just like he did in the years before. He just scored a couple of times on them this year. So nothing that I really. So what I was disappointed about is where was George Kittle? He started out good. I had a lot of targets in the beginning. It was like he wasn't even getting any targets. But to be honest with you, I think it was a lot of the play calling too because they were throwing. Bro, you seen how many targets Jared? What did I tell you about Jared McKinnon?
He was right.
Bro, they want to use him. They paid him a lot of money. And, bro, he was getting the targets. I don't even know. I have to go and look. He may have had more targets out the backfield than Mostert. Because
I'm about to tell you in a second. Go ahead. He had McKinnon had 5.
he had just as many.
5.
They had the same amount of targets. And the thing is, I'm looking at that, and they both scored touchdowns. And I said it from the jump. They don't have any receivers. They're gonna need him to kind of be a receiver. But also, I thought Kendrick Bourne would do more. I really, really thought Kendrick Bourne would do more. He had 5 targets. He only caught 2 for 34 yards. I thought they would actually target him more. But I say that George Kittle only had 5 targets. He caught 4 of them for 44 yards. So, I mean, the question is, as the game went on for me, was what were we doing?
Yeah. I mean, I hear you talking about those players. I look at Jimmy Garoppolo, and I
ain't
say
want
to
to talk.
myself, I say to myself, like, what was Jimmy Garoppolo at? He's supposed to take this step up. If you take away that long touchdown, like that short pass to Mostert, if you take that away, he don't even crack 200 yards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that doesn't mean he wouldn't have got it because maybe they would have went on a long drive. So you never know. They may have still scored. You just end up scoring with a one quick play. But if you look at the receivers, you look at the yardage, you look at his yards, he's 19 for 33, 259, 2 TDs. I mean, overall, it ain't a terrible stat line, but when I look at the receivers and I look at 44 and 41 and 34, and I know that Mostert had that one long run, catch and run. It wasn't like a deep ball. It was a short drop off, and it just not a short, but maybe like a 5 yard slant, and then he took it to
And
the
he
house.
took off. Yeah,
That just lets me know that Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't like pushing the ball down the field, you know.
I agree.
So I look at him like he got to step his game up against Arizona, who, and I know it's a new year, but they're one of the worst secondary teams with the worst secondary, as far as stats from last year. And teams can turn things around, but they didn't really sign a lot of people to turn that part of their game around. So the fact
Yeah,
that you didn't take advantage of that, wow.
we need Debo Samuel. We need Debo Samuel
Yeah,
big
but
time,
y'all
man.
didn't even have y'all rookie either, Brandon Ayuk. They
I
both was
know,
out,
I know,
so
I know.
y'all missing
So
two weapons that's
our
definitely
top
gonna
two
matter.
are
You know,
basically our top two. I mean, they're going to be probably our number one and two receivers.
yeah.
So I mean, to be missing that hurts. But still, I mean, overall, missing our top two receivers, I still was happy with the way our defense played, even though they gave up 24. Um, but I also know we were playing against, DeAndre Hopkins.
I was about to go to him. See, that's
DeAndre
how he should have
Hopkins,
been used. That's how he should have been used with Houston.
14 catches for
Kyler Murray,
151 yards.
and he should have had a touchdown. I know he was down, but I mean, I'm just saying like that almost was a touchdown. I would have loved it because I got him on my fantasy team. But Kyler Murray said, "You know what? I got this weapon. I'm gonna use it."
He
He
did.
had 16 targets and 14 catches. Michael Thomas, watch out for your record. I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You are my favorite receiver, and right now you're my number one. But if Kyler Murray is going to throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins 16 times a game, 15 times a game, he's not going to miss much. He don't miss balls. He just does it. Your record could be in jeopardy, so enjoy it.
Yeah, because, I'm looking at them stats. DeAndre Hopkins, 151 yards. Kyler Murray had 230.
That's
He
more than
only
half
had
his
80.
yards.
He only had 80 yards passing to the rest of the
But
team.
that's what you do when you have a DeAndre
DeAndre
Hopkins.
Hopkins, I agree.
That's what you do.
I
If
agree.
if they if they gon' if you gonna throw if they gonna allow you to throw the ball to him and not gonna double him up and take him out the game, you throw the ball to him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's what they did, and
And
it turned out being for their benefit
Kyler
because they
Murray
ended up
just
winning.
tough,
So
man. 13 carries for 91 yards too.
yeah,
Bruh.
he played well. He played well.
Bruh.
So all right, so we not gonna talk about this Seattle Cowboys game. I mean Seattle Los Angeles Rams Cowboys game because it's going on right now. It's gonna be a good game. Maybe but we gonna jump into our Monday night games to give our picks. We got the Steelers and the Giants, and we have Titans and the Broncos. I think the Steelers and the Giants game is gonna be interesting. I got a feeling that the Giants are gonna be better than people think they're gonna be this year.
I do
I
too.
think the Giants are going to be, not a force or nothing like that, but I just think they're going to be better. I'm eager to see Saquon with back healthy with a healthy QB who we know got some potential to push the ball down the field, and they got a pretty solid receiving core. Like people don't realize Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, Evan Ingram, and then that young guy Darius Slayton. That's not a bad group of people to be throwing the ball to. You
Right.
know, Evan Ingram, a top five tight end if he can stay healthy, as far as his talent. And then we know Sterling Shepard is a bona fide number two receiver. Golden Tate is a bona fide number two. So they don't have like a dominant receiver, but their receiving core reminds me of Deshaun Watson's receiver core. You know, they got
I
some
think a
speed
little upgraded
guys.
though.
Yeah, upgraded. Yeah, I
Because
believe so
Darius
because
Slayton,
Evan Ingram,
Darius Slayton
and
showed me something last year because they
he
didn't
he
have
did.
nobody else, and he was
And he was
still
killing
killing
it.
it.
Exactly. And then when you add Saquon Barkley, who I think is the best running back in the league, I think he's number one above Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey just had a better season because of how they used him. But as far as just talent and what he can do, to me, it's Saquon Barkley all day. So I'm gonna be interested. That's gonna be an interesting game for me. The Steelers and the Giants, and then the Titans and the Broncos. Derrick Henry. I'm looking forward to see if he can, you know, continue what he did because he started the season not playing that like he played towards the end of the season. Like he started the
Right,
season, he was just doing okay for a back. Then he started running the ball for 200 yards a game.
right, right.
So it's gonna be interesting to watch those two backs, tomorrow night. Just for the sakes of picks, I'm gonna say I'm gonna take the Giants over the Steelers in a close one, and I'm gonna say, of course, Titans over Broncos. What you got?
Um, Honestly, I definitely Titans over Broncos, no doubt. But I'm gonna take the Steelers.
All right,
You
cool.
got Big Ben coming back. I think Juju got something to prove. I think we're gonna
You're
see
right. You're right.
Deontay. I think I can't think of Deontay's last name. Johnson, I think.
Johnson. Yeah, Deontay
Dude
Johnson.
came out. They still got James Washington. I mean, they got some weapons to go along with James Conner
You got
coming back
Eric
100%.
Ebron too, tight
Right,
end.
and
Hmm.
coming back healthy with James Conner. Bruh,
Yeah,
listen. The Steelers got a good defense. We know that. We know
right.
what Watt can do on the edge. We know what they can do. Um, so I mean, seeing that team coming back, yeah, the Giants. I think they're going to be better, but I don't think they'll have enough for the Steelers.
Yeah,
I don't think they're there yet.
yeah. I mean, you're probably right. The Steelers or should win that game. They definitely to pick to win, but I'm just taking the Giants as a a
It's not a
sleeper.
bad pick though. I thought about it. I thought about the
Yeah.
Giants. I really did.
Yeah, so that's all we got. Remember to like, subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Hold this L. You can just type in "Hold this L." You'll be able to find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Like and subscribe. And remember, we are gonna be giving y'all 2 shows a week. Our next episode will be dropping on Friday. All right. So again, Mondays and Fridays. On Friday, we'll be giving you our predictions for Sunday's games as well as some great fantasy picks. So if you're playing daily or if you play weekly football, fantasy football, go ahead and tune in. You got anything before we get out of here, cuz?
Bro, I gotta throw out. I got a pick for my whole this L segment, man.
Oh yeah,
I
go
couldn't
ahead.
let that I couldn't let it slip by. Russell Westbrook. Hold this L. Like my bro said, take it, put it in your pocket, sit on it, think about it, keep it in there for a while, take it out, look at it, put it back in, and sit on it some more. Talking trash, talking about y'all better double cover me. You down 30. You down 30, talking about y'all better double team me. Bro, you are go somewhere, bro.
Yeah.
Hold this L, man. Hold this L, bro.
Hey, since you say I forgot about the segment, I'm glad you brought it up. So I got one too from the same team but different person. Daniel House. You in the playoffs, bro. You in the playoffs, man. And you gonna jeopardize your playoff chances, the health of all the people in the bubble, because you want to sneak a little chick in there and get you some trim. You knew they was gonna snitch on you. You knew you was gonna get caught, but yet you want to try it anyway. Now the whole world know that. Just hold this L, man. Just
Yeah.
hold this L. I ain't even got nothing else to say about it. Daniel House, hold this L. Oh
Then it
man,
was
that's
a
hold this.
COVID. It was a COVID tester. It was a
Oh
COVID
my
tester. It was one of
goodness,
the testers.
that's ridiculous. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man. Oh man.
That's all we got for y'all today. This is hold this L. We will be back again on Friday, and we out.
We out later.